map of the old Austro-Hungarian Empire reveals that vast area of Central and Southeastern Europe, which was formerly under the dominion of the Habsburgs and one of the world's largest and most powerful kingdoms. But the boundary lines of an empire are as changeable as the course of human events. And as a result of the last World War, Austria and Hungary were separated and reduced to small independent countries, while in the remaining territory, several new states were created, including Czechoslovakia, which derives its name from the two branches of the Slavic nation, the Czechs and the Slovaks. Praha, or Prague, the capital and largest city of Czechoslovakia, is picturesquely situated on the banks of the Vltava River. 1,000 years ago, Prague was already the capital of an independent Czech state, which at later periods assumed large proportions in Central Europe. Charles IV, the most famous ruler of the House of Luxembourg, made this city a center of arts and sciences for the Holy Roman Empire. And as far back as 1348, he erected numerous buildings and bridges, which rank today among the architectural treasures of medieval Europe. The famous Old Charles Bridge, for example, was built before Christopher Columbus was born, and even today it is one of the most useful of the 12 bridges which span the Vltava and connect the two sections of the city. After crossing the Charles Bridge, the first church to attract our attention is that of St. Nicholas, a perfect example of Baroque architecture and one of the most famous of the city's many old churches. Prague also has an ultra-modern atmosphere, convincingly illustrated by the activity of its main street. Our present interest, however, lies in the landmarks of Old Prague, such as the Tyne Church, built in the 14th century and famous the world over for its oddly shaped spires and turrets. This ancient church, being one of the oldest landmarks in Prague, has acted as a nucleus around which a section of the city has grown up, so that today the church is literally boxed in by the buildings which surround it. The old town square in front of the church has been a gathering place for important events which two famous old faces have looked down upon through centuries of time. One, the face of a Jewish clock with hands that move backwards over Hebrew letters. And the other, the face of a Christian clock, constructed in the year of 1480 and regarded as one of the mechanical wonders of the world. With the striking of the hours, this clock becomes a veritable beehive of activity, and every movement it makes harmonizes with the passing of time. As the apostles of Christ move by the open windows, presumably warning us to consider the importance of spiritual life, the figure of death moves a bony hand as if striking the hours, while the merchant beside him philosophically shakes his head as if to say, "What does it profit a man if he gains the whole world and suffers the loss of his soul?" On a natural elevation overlooking the city stands the historic old Castle of Prague, parts of which are said to date back as far as the 10th century, when a patron prince of Bohemia was reigning over this land. It is now the official residence of the President of the Republic. During the World War, there were 3 private legions formed by Czech and Slovak volunteers in France, Italy, and Russia, respectively. And today, in their memory, these castle guards wear uniforms similar to those worn by the soldiers in those countries. Within the castle grounds, there is a quaint little thoroughfare referred to as Gold Street, because, according to tradition, it was here in these little houses that the old Jewish alchemists were imprisoned under orders to manufacture artificial gold for their freedom. The castle contains many things of interest, but there is a big parade going on in the city, which represents the provinces of the Republic, and we cannot afford to miss it, as it is virtually Czechoslovakia on parade. It is a custom among the boys in some of the communities of Czechoslovakia to elect kings to represent them in parades of this kind, and each king rides a colorfully decorated horse. A remarkable feature about this national parade is the complete absence of any display of military glamour or strength. Instead of guns, they carry violins, and the feet that once beat upon these pavements in military precision are now supplanted by feet that dance. And all this is simply an agrarian demonstration in which the peasants of the country go to town, as it were, in their homespun costumes and celebrate the results of a good harvest or anything else that can provoke a celebration. The casual observer may look upon this as just a colorful parade, but it is more than that. It represents the spirit of a people who have dedicated themselves to the cause of liberty, fraternity, and equality, a cause which reflects itself even in the face of the plainest peasant girl, and around which revolves the hope and the future of Czechoslovakia.